Welcome back. This is Nadeem Bukhari with Palmistry. Probably this is, if I'm not wrong, it's the 20th video on the structure of the hand. We just finished the full structure of the hand along with fingers and all that. Then in the last video, I introduced the comparison between the size of the fingers and the size of the palm and the condition of the hand from inside. If it's dry, sweaty, decolorized, too much color, the size, too big size of or too meaty size of the hand. Today, I'm going to do, in this video, I will discuss the fingers, the four fingers and the thumb. So the fingers themselves, they reveal a lot of information about a person. The finger is the top. It's divided into three parts. The top portion is the first portion, or first part. Second portion, or second part. Third portion, or third part. 1, 2, and 3. Thumb has 1, 2, 1, 2. There's third, but it's at a different meaning. It's not considered as a portion because it becomes part of the life. But it is also, technically speaking, this is a portion, but for palmistry, we'll cover mostly these two and their existence. 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? So I'll start off with the fingers and then go over to the thumb, and we'll take it from there. In one of the earlier videos where I was discussing the fingers, the type of fingers and structure of the hand, I discussed that, in the introduction, which one is the first portion, second, and what they stand for. And I think I shared one of the pictures too. So this is the beginning of the finger. So as fingers go up, but when you count, you always count 1, 2, and 3. So when you are referring to the third portion or the third section or third part of the finger, then you are always talking about the lower ones. So it's the third, second, and first. First, second, third. So always the beginning is not nail. But in study, we go from bottom to the up because this is energy. This flows out into the hand. So this is the self. It's the human body. It's you. It's like as meat, flesh, human. Not to include soul or brain. It's purely your body. Like your desires. What you like. Like in the last video, I said, okay, this person could be a hand. Could be more animalistic tendencies. If these are taller, these are probably you see them more like balanced, not too much, except for this a little bit. But it's because this is also raised from here, then it goes raised up there. So it appears to be taller, but it is not. Tall, you will see them. They're tall as compared to the others. You'll see these. This is like, let's say 1 inch, 1 inch, and this is 1.5 inch. You'll see a big difference between these two. And I've shown it to people, they, oh, okay. So this portion is taller than the rest of the two. This could be that this is 1 inch, this is 1/2 inch, this is 1.5 inch. Or this is 1.5 inch, this is 1 inch, and this is 1/2 inch. Could be anything. So look at the three in one finger and see if this is only tall, this part is only tall in your index finger, or all four fingers have these things tall. Okay, there's a big difference. Don't make a judgment. If it is only in one finger, or maybe two, or maybe three, it has to, if it exists in all the four fingers, that your third portion, the foundation of the finger, is much taller than the rest of the two here, rest of the two here, rest of the two here, and rest of the two here. All those four fingers, the third portion is much taller than the rest of the two. Then person is more self-oriented, physically self-oriented, me, ego, me, self, feeding, like, hey, maybe wearing a 1 kilogram of gold chain, or maybe, extravagance, being extravagant is more physics, more physique, sorry, not physique. It's more physique. It's more your body. It's more your being, not the being in the sense of soul and the mind, but the physical being. So this kind of a person who has the taller third portions is self-oriented. It's more on a physical level. Now, what does that mean? So, so a person who has more animalistic tendencies, because these are more as a human being, more animal, then it shows it is a kind of a tendency of a brain and soul that this person is going to be a little off the normal personality. This person is not a normal person. Is not normal part of the society. He is more, person who, I'm trying to find, right word, so I don't want to intimidate anyone. The person itself is more like, I want this. It's like in the palm area when we were talking about the person's personality. So the person itself, himself or herself, is tendencies are being more greedy. Okay, so a greedy person will have a specific tendencies going into and doing certain things to fulfill the greed. It's just like grabbing, stealing, or and now again, when we are falling onto the negative, caution, red flag, boom, I should have a red flag and say, raise red flag. Testimony, don't be jumpy. Make sure this person is that kind of a person. Make sure the person has the solid animalistic tendencies. A person is really greedy or horny or corny or, oh, God knows, whatever words you want to use. It's a very, very physical person. Like, you see people in the prison, they end up doing crimes, So you want to make sure you're looking at a hand which is like, one of those. So where etiquettes, manners, sophistication, soul and brain is, these are all missing things in such a person who has abnormally. Now, again, we are on the left side of the band, and there's a right band, and there's a normal. So now, a person who has a very tall third, not 1, 2, 3, all of them. All 4 of them, the third portion is really very tall as compared to the rest. This person is more physical. So he will do or she will do anything to fulfill the desires. So such people don't care about, the norms of the society. For them, they break the law, they break the rules, they break everything. So you cannot restrict them. They don't like restrictions. They break the law when they feel like, because they're animalistic, they're powerful people, physically powerful people. They at least they're so much energetic. If you don't see them physically very big and tall, they could be very small, but you see the power in them, the level of energy in them. You will feel that, the strength of the hand, the type of fingers they have, the nails they have. So a person with tall third portion or across 4 fingers will lack attitude, a good attitude, good manners, good tendencies, more towards being animal. So look out for that before you make a judgment. take the rest of the testimonies. So these people who, if they are positive, if they're not on the criminal, they're like on the positive side. If their hand is reflecting as a positive, now we are moving from a negative side to the middle to more average. If a person with the tall, all four tall, third portion, such a person is really a very strong person with a very hard working life. This person may be a farmer, going out and farm in a real sense of, the third world country farmers, they go in the morning and they work all, the shovel, the farms all day long, they are not educated. They really work hard, and maybe a laborer, who's just taking the bricks on his shoulder or head and carrying all the way to the 7th floor, really working very hard. They don't. How could you imagine this person being so sophisticated? Most of them, they just care about their livelihood. They just want to make, at the end of the day, they want to take the bread home and feed their children. They are not care about their, how they live, how sensitive they are, if they have a perfume on, or they have a lotion on, or they have taken a shower, they have bathed in days. They really are not into that. For them, it's working hard and bringing bread to their children. So that's the positive side. I mean, they are low class. They are like on the bottom of, on a very physical level, but they are not criminals. They're just physical. They're very strong. They're physical. They will, those are the people who build things. They do things with with their bodies. They are not machinists. They are not working with the machines. They are working with their own hands. So on a mental level, these people, because they are very physical, they are working, so they are not educated. Most of them, unless there's an indication in the hand of being a little bit more sophisticated, they are not as educated. They can't tell them, that 1,000 times 66. It's a simple math, though. But anyway, so you just take 66 and 1,000 and 66,000. So. But the math, they can't do the mental math. They can't do the science. They can't just go and say, okay, you know what, who's the poet is, what does this poem say, So they are not sophisticated. They, at the end of the day, even if they are involved into some kind of a layer, that layer is sitting at the corner of the street and chatting with other people and just discussing very low life events that happen that day, an accident or probably something on the street. They don't go into very sophisticated. They are least bothered about sophisticated politics or education and literature or poetry, math and science and physics and so those are like the opposite of it. But they are very healthily working class. So they do get respect because of that. So there's a difference between being a negative and on a prison side, and there's a in being a laborer and hardworking side. So these people are very positive on a positive, a balanced personality. So now, if a person who has a long first, third portion, now we take him from this side onto the other side. So where he's a criminal now, only physical, laborer, positive, and then two positive. And that two positive is the person is a very hardworking person. Maybe you'll see a member of a political party. He doesn't care. 20 years ago, he was just an ordinary person. He went in there, he started putting the chairs and set up the stage for the MP. The MP became the prime minister. The poor guy is still the basic member. He's still working very hard, praising other. So he is a very determined person. He doesn't grow upon things. He doesn't like to, you just put him in a place and he will be working there. He's hard. So if you want, just like a square hand, we discussed, if you want a stable person who's really constantly very So you square hand with the tall, and then if you have a sophisticated, educated person, a person who has gone to school with this. So if you have a tendency of being more educated, more towards spirituality and the brain work with the tall, then that means that person is now showing another quality, the positive side of it. As the quality of the person is they are good friends. They are practical people. They work hard. They like to do their own things. They don't depend on others. They're more independent in that way. So they are kind of a very positive, good personality, and they make good friends too. They are reliable people. They are not just going to deceive you unless it's on a very far end criminal side. But even then, they will have this quality of being good friend. So they just cheat because they are more into their desires. So if they can control the desires and start to come to the right side of it. They can be these people can be a little hard in they can if they have their ego, looking at their thumb and rest of the hand, if they develop ego, self, because it's a strong self here already. So if, along with the thumb and other indications, testimonies, person could be really, really rigid. Even though very sophisticated, now we are talking about an educated, and if he's not educated, is on the left side, more problematic. But on the right, it says no, you can't turn into yes. They will not change their mind if they have already made up. So they are like kind of stubborn, very, very stubborn people. So tackle with them very carefully. Now, the second portion, 1, 2, and 3, the second portion. If all the fingers have the middle part, which is the second portion, second part, longer than the other one, or rest of the hand, as compared to the third and the first, if the second parts are taller. Give an example, if they are half an inch, they are like an inch. Then you can see them as compared to the rest of the finger, they're tall. Same, again, it's a physics, physics. Sorry, I keep saying I don't know. The physique itself is like more physical. The desires that are a little bit more controlled. The brain, the intellect commands it a little bit. So when the power, animalistic power, the physical power, the animal tries to go up. When the animal is trying to go up, here, the brain, the intellect controls it. That's why the knots will do the critical thinking. So this person this takes longer. Just like knot, the knot stops the thought process and calculates. It spins it a little bit there and then let it go. Same way, the brain will take longer for the energy to go out. It will actually process that instincts here and process them, add some pinch of salt of intellect. So these people can be intellectuals not in the sense of intellectuals, but educated people. They are much more sophisticated. They're still self-oriented. They're still instinctive. They want things for themselves. They are more sophisticated. They get up in the morning. They may take 2 hours to get ready, and they make up and plucking and doing thing and blah blah blah. They take care of themselves. They want things for them, but they are more intellectual. I keep saying intellectual. Sometimes I keep repeating the same word. They are more self-oriented, but there's a pinch of education, the pinch of higher education and more etiquettes, more manners. So they control their animal instincts. So they cage, in other words. They cage their animal instincts. Here is just raw man with no soul. Soul is, yeah, I mean, everybody has a soul, not in a negative sense, but it's on a more on a physical level. I don't want to make soul and mind sound too bad here, but it's more of a prominent physical, like I said, a laborer, for example. So here, that animal gets some education, it gets caged, it gets wrapped. Those same desires gets wrapped into sophistication. So inside the man could still be very rough, more instinctive, like animalistic, and more on a animal level, more like animal means man as an animal. But here, then it gets wrapped. The man, because he's educated, it's just like you take a laborer or a criminal, and then you put him through the education, reform system, and they becomes reformed. But his nature is not going to change. All you've done is you have made that person realize that, what, now rather than I punch you on the face, I have to say the same thing in nicer words. So sometimes you can say, what, you are so and so, rather than punching and breaking somebody's nose. So you can say things with a word. So it's like now an educated person will use a much better words to express same feelings, for example, the same emotions. So then, second, the longer all of them, not the individual finger, all of them, the longer middle portion is more intellect added to the animalistic instincts or body itself. So because these people, they are able to control their instincts, they are able to tame their body, they are able to train their body and power, control it, give it a nice twist, make it more look like more human. So now they become more of a normal society person. So now a person with a lot of force, a lot of power, a lot of energy. Okay, so going up here, it was raw. Here it's got more sophisticated. Now this person becomes like a square hand, part of the society. This person, when it goes into because he's energetic, a lot of energy, he becomes successful in the ventures he takes or she takes, the job he or she does. They progress there. They become successful. They can perform extraordinary because of their strength. They have enormous strength in doing. They can survive. They can do overtime. So 4 o'clock, someone say, bye-bye, it's 4 o'clock. I'm not doing overtime. I'm going home. I'm having fun. But this person, you can say, oh, you know what? I'll stay. I had a friend, the whole bank will go home. He died a few months ago. May he rested in peace. The poor guy, he was working till midnight. So he was always working, always very sophisticated person. To the point, good degree, good job, good family, nice family, a nice family background, and working in a bank. The person, he was doing always, whenever I call him and say, I'm at work, everybody will say, he will just say, Tom, Harry, and, Diana will say, what, Mr. So-and-so, can you please do my, balance sheet? You check this out, check my numbers. I've done this, but I'm not sure. I said, no problem, I'll do it. So you will see him working for other people just because he has so much energy. He has so much to contribute because he's powerful. He's very energetic. He never tires. He's always there. He doesn't take painkillers. He doesn't take No, he's physically good. So he's working. So such person, they can really be very beneficial for a business class, in a corporation. They can always work. So when you're looking at a person who has really gone through the education and comes from a good background and has the middle portions taller, hey, hire him, because this person is going to contribute a lot, and he's going to stay beyond the hours required without even asking for compensation. I mean, you will compensate, fine. Maybe he will ask you for that. But you know what? He's not doing it because he wants to be compensated. He wants to do it because he loves to do things. Okay. So you want to make sure that there's such a person who has the middle tall. So if you want a very worker, you want a person who can, mop the floor all day long, first portion. Third portion. And if you want a person with more sophistication and still work all day long, second portion. So I'm giving an example. I mean, it's more into it. It's more contributory to it. But what I'm saying is the difference between the two is here the brain, the education, the sophistication. It's more caged. Your power, you have the nuclear power inside you. You're still the same person. But now you have you're more sophisticated. You can apply, like a manager, for example, a supervisor. I know one of my cousins, I went to see him in America. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, he didn't come home. 3 days, he came home at the day I was visiting, that was the third day he came home, and he was lying in the bed, and he's half asleep, and he's trying to talk to me. And my first cousin, my best friend, very nice. And I said, what the hell are you doing? You're killing yourself. You're working so much. Why you are doing so? So you know what? I said, hire me. So I was there to visit him for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he hired me. And just next day I went to his job, and everybody said, because what was happening was because he was taking the responsibility all the time. So the store was in the hard area. So his employees will do party all night long. In the morning, they can't get up, and they will pick up the phone and say, sorry, I'm sick, I can't come. It was happening on a daily basis. The poor guy ended up working all 3 shifts. I said, hire me. So what will you do? I said, just see what I do. So next day morning, I said, okay, I'll take all the calls. You will not respond. You will not say anything. I'm the manager for the next couple of weeks. Obviously a shadow manager. So first call, I'm sick, I can't come. I said, thank you, don't come. You don't need to come. We don't need you. We'll hire somebody else. Thank you. All right, done. An hour later, the person is at the work. Within 3-4 days, everybody's back to work. I say, no, you don't want to come? Don't come. Straight. Now my cousin is only working 8 hours. He's home, he's fresh, he's happy. So see there? And, he got the trick. And later he owned 3 stores. Then he was running 3 stores at the same time. So, the energy has to be channeled, So here in the middle, the energy gets channeled. It's the power that you channel. Now, I'm not sure that my cousin has all the 4 of them as equal tall. Maybe it's 1 or 2 fingers that are tall. But if you have all 4 of them, you have a very, very strong personality. But that will reflect from the physics. Your physique is strong. Your physical condition is strong. So you will see that. So you look at the person and say, okay, that's the person. So when you're telling someone, you should know that where this person is coming from, what he's thinking, what kind of personality he has, just by looking the middle portion of it. Now, last but not the least, like I said, spectrum. One extreme, the other extreme, the normality. And extremes are not bad extremes unless there are testimonies. Like it goes really, really, really too much into tendency, and then turns out to be, or feels like it's extreme. So now where is animal channeled by education, brain, your intellect is channeling your power. Here's the spirituality. Okay, so how the spirituality, how your sophisticated, your soul gets. So now there's a trika. I don't want to bring it in, but I do want to touch it and bring it in detail, but touch it shortly. It's a triangle. On the top is soul, and on the bottom, and the bottom of the triangle like this is body, this is intellect, and that's soul. So on the top is soul, and then body and intellect. So when you have too much of body, then body goes down, and your intellect is here, or maybe it will also come down and made it. It's like if you know the geometry, or the triangles and those kind of things. You know that when you do vectoring, so when you pull one thing and then the other ones, if soul is not going up, brain is not going up, then your body and your brain act as one body, as one. So that's these. So this portion is where your body and your brain is one. It's just a body. As soon as you start to feed your brain starts to rise. So now you have a triangle. So you're on the bottom is body, brain at the same level. As you start to educate a person, the brain starts to go up, becomes intellectual, a more like educated person with more knowledge and all that. So the weight of the body remains down. So the soul goes up. So soul automatically goes up. So the vector is like this, and triangle goes like this. So the soul remains. So now, if you feed your soul and your intellect, then both goes up, and it becomes a solid line. So body, intellect, and soul. So body, intellect, and soul. There's a long philosophy that I need to discuss at another point. But just at a triangle, if it was straightened up, so body, so brain, and soul. Here you make that thing even more. So if you have the first portion taller than the rest of the two and the third portion in all the fingers, then you have the predominantly tall first portions. Then you have predominantly spiritual higher level. Very, very spiritual person. So you will see more pointed cone fingers, tall, long, sophisticated, very intuitive, very spiritual. Those are the person that I was talking about being in the structure. Then if they are very, very pointed, they become Sufis and spiritual people and saints and all that. They will have a very... So they could still be with a square or flat, if they are more industrious or something. They could still be very spiritual because they're tall. Because of the tallness, they get a lot of spirituality, but they could be industrious too. They could be entrepreneurs, or they could be just pure intuitive. If it's more pointed and spiritual, they're probably sitting in a cave or on the top of the mountain and just praying and doing a self-enhancement. So spirits. So what does it mean? More than, in being in a part of the society. Now, so just like a pointed hand, it's more of a tall first portion on all fingers will make a person more spiritual. Away from people, not mixing up with the people, not taking interest in normal life, 9 to 7 work, You give them one bread, probably is good enough for them in the whole day. Whatever they're content. They are very, very content. Whatever they get, they're happy with that. They're opposite of this. Their body doesn't matter. They're too much away from the body. And there's an intellect handling their, so they have gone up. The body is down, the brain and the intellect and the soul. They're lifting. They're uplifting. They're literally very spiritual people. So you can understand what kind of spiritual people are, who spiritual people are, how they react to other things. I'm not talking about people who are like superficially or, but I'm talking about true spiritual people. They're actually true. They're intuitive. They love men, the humanity. They love to serve people. They love to serve God. They love to serve community. They are on a spiritual level, purely on a spiritual. There's no animal in them. Very little. This body, they only eat to just live on that. So they are very thin. They are very weak, maybe sometimes. They're not as strong and healthy people. They're just very. And it's when predominantly the first portion is. But it could be that, if one of them are short and normal, not short, but normal size, it will give them a tendency to become that kind of a stability. So it's the far end. This one is the far end. So this one, when it's on the left, this is in the middle, that's the right, the band. The body, the brain, and the soul. So now the needle goes to the right or to the left. So you have to judge the body, get more testimonies, how much maturity, and all that kind of things. Now, mix hand in this context. So we discussed that if you have I just checked, confirm my notes. The portion, the 4.5 inches to 3 inches is the normal hand distribution. A very balanced personality is 4.5 to 3 inches. 4.5 to 3 inches. So if you measure from here, go all the way here is 4 inches, 4.5 inches and 3 inches. That's the normal size of it. I'm sorry, 4 and 3 inches. I said it in the early. I don't know where 4.5 came in, but 4 inches and 3 inches. That's the proportion. 3/4. Like 3/4, 3/4. So that's the normal. But if in that sense, since we are talking about the length, if the fingers were taller, let's say 4 inch to 4 inch. So now fingers are taller than the normal size. So if fingers are taller, already tall, plus that portion becomes tall, then it says another story. It adds the pinch to that thing. So you have to actually see if this portion is taller with the tall index finger or any other finger or all of the fingers. If those fingers are really tall, and then you have one of these portions tall, then you will have to add. So taller finger, in generally speaking, is more flow of thought, more towards being at ease, less the body system. Okay, so when these keep growing and they look taller and taller, so that means this person becomes more creative, more critical. Just like a knot hand, if you have that kind of, if the proportion increases in the length, the line are more than 4 inches. These are not 3 inches, they are 4, 5, maybe 6. And I have one of my students, he has very tall fingers. He asked me, I said, okay, I'll cover. Malik, this is for you. Your tall fingers, you have really tall fingers. I think I'll add your hand at the end of this one. Do you want, I'll just add the fingers only. So I'll not reveal your whole hand. I'll just reveal half of it because you shared with me and I said I will be sharing it with the other people. So you agreed to me. So I will share your fingers. showing how tall they are. They're tall, that means you are a very critical mind. You're analytical. Analytical qualities are. Just like we said here with the brain, when it's longer, just like a knot. So even if it's small or big, if there's a knot, you are a critical mind. So you hold the thought and process it. The same way, if you have a taller portions, whichever the taller portion, that instinct, body, brain, or soul will process that energy as much. So if the whole finger is very tall, that means you're processing the whole thing. You're keeping the thought too long with you. Why you're keeping it? Because you're processing it. Your brain is working. You are analytical. You're critical. You think, okay, why is this? Why is that? Why is this? And now all my students who are in my WhatsApp group, they are going to, they know that how many questions you always ask. Why is this? Why is that? Why is that? You're the only one who's always asking questions. You are always critical. That's your long fingers. Now you should know why you have long fingers. They are making you think, and think. Question. And that questioning they are very cool in it. Malik, I've known you for maybe 22 years now. And you have been learning from me since turn of the century. So you always ask questions. You're patient. You just you look at the material, you think about it, you process, then you come up with lots of questions. Then you keep asking questions. Relative or not relative, but you have lots of questions. You cover all sides of it. And that makes you a good security person. And that's where you're successful in that profession, because you cover all sides of it. And it's because you take the idea this way or that way and you process, you keep the finger in tall fingers. So the tall fingers are keeping the idea, cool mind, processing, thinking, asking, investigating, and gathering information. Keep gathering. I may spend half an hour in gathering information. You, Malik, you may spend 20 years in gathering information because you have very tall fingers. That's the difference between you and me. There's a negative side to it too, because you spend too much time in analyzing something. You usually miss the train. Should I go or shouldn't I go? You take so much time that you don't go because you already missed the train. So when you are being too critical, there's a negative side to it. And the negative side is that you usually end up missing on the targets. The targets you need to achieve, they never get done because you never seems to be making up your mind. There's always but and if, or buts and ifs. There's always a question. There's always something left and right cover you need to look into. From a security point of view, it's good. But from deliverance point of view, it's a little, questionable. So you need to understand that when you have very tall fingers, completion of a task is usually a very, very hard thing for you. It never happens sometimes. So you may embark on very long-term projects rather than short-lived projects, doing something today and finishing it up at the end, your everything, whatever, even probably if you're getting married, probably you will take 3 years before you can say, okay, yes, I would love to marry. So anyway, so you go out, and when you deal with people, make sure you take a reasonable time. Such person needs to be advised to take reasonable amount of time to decide something. Yeah, that was the tall fingers. What about the small fingers? So we have average fingers. We started off with average fingers. Then we went into the tall fingers. Now we have a short fingers. Short fingers means they are not 3 inches, 4 to 3. They're 4 to 2.5 or 2, something. Just like the very small nails we discussed, they were narrow or they were small. Same way, if you look at the fingers, they really look like, very small like this. And you will see them, plenty of them. You'll see them. It's just very small personality. It's like these people are restless. Restless not in the sense that they go on, embark on it. They are restless because they can't complete anything, not in that sense too. They are more like they want everything done. They can't spend time. They're opposite of the long hands. They're not patient in anything. These are impatient. Yeah, that's the right word. They're very impatient people. They want things done right away. There is no time. There's always a haste. That's the right word. There's always a haste about them. They're always in a rush. Oh, they're falling, tripping, they are like bumping into people. They're saying, okay, quick. They can't go. They get into on a train station or a restaurant or something, and there's a line or queue. They find a way to cut it down, and because they can't, you will see them nervous, and when they're standing in a line, they have to wait. They really become very nervous, moving, okay, God, oh my, my train is gonna miss, they're always, you see them nervous because and that nervousness is not because, it's because they are always in a hurry. They can't wait. It's exactly the opposite of Malik, the tall finger guy. So when there's so much of haste, there's no waiting, so there's no processing. Things come and they go. Things come and go. So where is the thought process? Where is something that is being thrown on you? You take it, you analyze it, and you say, okay, it's good for me, it's bad for me. They don't care. They are so much in rush. They don't care, the consequences. So they end up naturally, because they don't pay attention to what is going to happen. So naturally, they are mostly they trip and fall on the road or in life. So they are always in a haste and something keeps going wrong with them because they're not thinking. The thinking is least rational, least critical, and least analytical. They are always in a rush. So they're not as educated. I mean, how can a person like with this kind of nature sit down and read a 400 page good literature novel or something, or watch a 4-hour movie, or sit down on a sofa and have a good chat with the family or you as a friend. They are never in the calm. So what do you do? So what do you do? So what these people, they need to slow down. When you see their small fingers, you tell them, please slow down, take it easy, put something breaks in your life, try to gain something. If this person says, you know what, I am not successful, I can't have my degrees. Okay, fine, you can't have your degree. It's because you are not going to school. You can't sit in a classroom for an hour in a class or 3 hours in a day, or sit down and do your homework and all that. It's your nature. You will have to sit down. So now, advising such a people to do something where they need to become patient, that's a wrong mix. So then you take these kind of people who are always on a rush doing something with, especially if they have this short fingers and these third person tall. That's it. They have, as compared to others, slightly taller than this, and they are small fingers. Oh my God. So these people are energetic, powerful, and they are impatient. They could punch your nose, And I know a person, he was like 5 foot tall and such a person. So and he was like moving all the time, very, very moving personality, literally physical moving personality. The gestures were very fast. So he was passing by that another person waiting, and I'm sitting across, and I'm watching that person, and that person is like following him, and he noticed that. And he turned around and said, "What the hell are you looking at? You want me to look at a man?" Blah 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 blah. And then he got mad at him. This tall guy, and the other guy, was, oh my God. And so I'm sorry. I didn't mean. These people could be very powerful and impatient, and they can just say, they won't ignore and say, okay, let it go, that kind of, they will jump on conclusions. And that could be, and they may have the first finger as pointed finger, intuitive. So their intuition says something is happening. Their short fingers say they're impatient, and their third portion says that they are more physical body. Now, so they pick up, you are thinking bad about me, you bad guy, boom, there comes a box, undercut. So what do you do then? So you have to, when you read such personalities, you mix up, see which quality is coming from where, which salt or pepper, red pepper or black pepper, or any other spices coming into the personality. Then make a full judgment of the personality. Say, okay, this is what it is. This is you need to do. This will make you successful. And if success has roadblocks or not, then we'll go into the fingers. So this concludes our today's lesson about fingers, the portion of the fingers, the length of the fingers, the whole full palm. Palm as a full hand inside. Palm means the full from here to here. The portion of the hand, 4 to 3 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches. First portion, second portion, third portion. All fingers are single fingers. Dry, hot, cold, colorless, colorful, too dark, perspiring hand, too much perspiring hand, too much dry and rough hand, crocodile hand, or those kind of things. So we all covered today in length. It's almost 2 hours. I think the first one was like 40 some minutes. This is already, I can see here, is 52 minutes, and give and take 2 hours. So I changed the shirt though, just to make it look a different video. But only he will know, who will come to this point, end up with the video, will know that, what, it's made one after the other. I just changed it so to give. So people who are just listen to first few minutes, they will only know it's a different video. But I usually make one video and then I make them and then upload them. So it takes rest of the days to do that. So if I'm lucky, I'll upload both of them. But tomorrow, day after tomorrow, something, whatever it takes. So till then, I'll come back and we will discuss the thumb in detail. That's thumb. So next video will be the thumb. So stay tuned. It's nice talking to you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as like, and share with others. You need to make it more successful. And this 20th lesson, 1 hour, you will never, even to this point, I still have a long way to cover within the palmistry. Once I finish, then I have a long way to talk about astrology. And I'm not taking the left and right. I'm talking about the basic fundamental covering the astrology, more practical astrology, more predictive astrology. But still, I will give you, if I have read 1,000 books, I'll just give you 1 or 2 good conclusions, the summaries of those things. And like I'm doing this one, I challenge that what I'm presenting to you is really in detail and it's more accurate to the day. Knowledge is never static. It always increases, always. The experiences, the observations, they always increase. So the more you learn, the more you add to it. So by learning is increase in knowledge. So hopefully one of you will be more knowledgeable than me, and then more and more, and it will keep on growing. So this is not fortune telling. This is science so far. 20 hours, nothing but science. So let's take it from here and talk about thumb next time. Take care of yourself. Bye.